Good morning, grab yourself a cup of coffee because it's time for another 5-minute photo adventure from Dartmoor. Right, good morning, welcome to Dartmoor, and this morning for this 5-minute photo adventure I've come here to Rippon Tor. It was always my intention to come to the eastern edge of Dartmoor this morning around the Hay Tor area because frankly the weather forecast for everywhere else on Dartmoor was cloudy. There's going to be a gap here around sort of sunrise time, so I thought I'll come up to the eastern edge around Hay Tor and we'll see what I can do. So I thought I'll either do another one from Baird Tor or I'll do Hound Tor, which I've not done before. But when I got up here, I got to the car park there just at the bottom end of Hay Tor. It's way more cloudy than I was anticipated anyway. There's cloud in virtually every single direction. I look, real thick heavy cloud, so I was definitely right coming to the eastern edge, but it's definitely not what I was hoping it was going to be this morning. But when I looked out down to the coast down south from that Hay Tor car park, there was a gap in the cloud. I thought as the sun comes up, even though it's heavy cloud over there in Hay Tor, if I can get a gap and the sun comes up, I can get some nice light on the underside of that cloud. However, even by the time I walked up here to Rippon Tor, because I thought coming to Rippon Tor, with the light being so small, or the availability of light and where it's going to land could be quite focused, I thought if I come up to Rippon Tor, which has got these big expansive views up here, that's going to give me the best opportunity to get a photograph. So while I had a plan, I also always like to have a bit of a plan B, so it's good to know your area so you can make these decisions once you discover what the weather is actually doing when you get here at the time. So up to Rippon Tor, the gap was going to be over there, but even now the time it's taking me to walk up here, that gap has disappeared. There's lots of low level cloud, so there are little bits of blue sky with little bits of colour. So I'm not quite sure really what's going to happen. It's going to be, I think, a matter of a waiting game. So it gives me ample opportunity to get the camera set up, pick out some compositions, get my settings plugged in, and then we just got to keep our fingers crossed. There is one thing you can't say about Dartmoor, and that is it's boring. Just look at that behind me now. It's all misty. But this place over the last 15 minutes has just been bonkers. Let me kind of explain what's happened and I'll share some of the photographs that I've just been capturing. So I was down there and my original plan was to take a panoramic image actually, because I thought the light was going to come across there, it'd hit Hay Tor, get a nice wide shot. And I set up all for that and the sun did start coming up, but there's just no light hitting, but it was catching the rocks. So I ran back up here, back to one of the kind of more traditional viewpoints that I normally capture from Rippon Tor, something I was actually kind of trying to avoid this morning, but when the light's doing what it's doing, you just got to take the shot, you know, you can't make light happen somewhere else. So came up here, took a slight variation of that shot, and then I had to saw something really quite special. But before I tell you that, let me show you the picture that I just took just there. So that was my kind of more classic shot of Rippon Tor. It's the kind of composition I normally take. I did try and vary it a little bit by adjusting my angle. I'm not so sure it works or not, but it was the best I could do. But as I was looking out to fine tune that, I looked down south towards the coast there, and the sun had just come up, and what it had revealed to me was absolutely amazing. All around the low-lying ground was all this low-level cloud, and the sun had come up, and it was just kind of, you could see it all, and it was covered in golden light. And I thought, crikey, I've got to go and try and do something with this. Now, it's not the kind of shot that I would normally take, probably because I don't normally see these kind of conditions, so I had to run over there. Obviously, didn't have time to do the video. Ran over there, took a shot. Because it's not the type of photography that I normally do, and I'm not really well experienced in it, I did kind of do a rush shot, so I don't know at the moment whether it's any good. I did try and set up the composition, try and get the light, try and get the mist in the ground, so all I can do is fingers crossed that it was all right. But even if the photograph wasn't, what a sight to see. As you can see, the weather has truly turned. It's very misty up here, but I hope you've enjoyed this 5-minute photo adventure. all I did was actually about 5 minutes of photography, funnily enough, because that light, that gap was really small, lots of running about. Apologies, didn't get time to kind of talk you through the compositions real time, but it can be quite chaotic at sunrise, especially when you've got those small gaps. But I do hope you have enjoyed this video. If you do, and you've got an extra few minutes, I'm popping the 5-minute photo adventure playlist up in the corner of the screen. But until the next video, I'll see you then.